Greetings, persons of quality, and welcome back to this episode of Anglisten Assemble. Today, we're moving into part 2 of our discussion with Dr. Deanna Fulger, and there we're going to be getting into a little bit of the IAS program, that's IAS, and InterAmerican Studies that we have here at Bielefeld University. Brought to you by the fine folks at the Center for InterAmerican Studies. And the InterAmerican Studies program is an interdisciplinary MA program here that we have at Bielefeld University. That means we've got things going on from literary and cultural studies, media studies, linguistics, sociology, political science, transnational histories, and so on and so forth down the line. Now, another thing about this program that makes it unique is that we've got not only, as you folks out there in Bielefeld University land might know, English courses, but Inter-American Studies also takes the Americas and its languages seriously. That means we're going to have also courses that happen in Spanish. And so, without further ado, back to our conversation with Deanna Fulger. So, tell us more about this Inter-American Studies program. What exactly is this kind of master's that you're talking about here, or that you're involved with, rather?
Well, I'm responsible for the MA program as the coordinator of Inter-American Studies. So it's a pretty unique thing in Germany. I don't think that there is another MA program in Inter-American Studies. You always have area studies, right? You have North American Studies, you have Caribbean Studies, you have Latin American Studies, but you do not have a program that actually combines all of those. So the Inter-American Studies / Estudios Interamericanos, because it is a bilingual program, right, in English and Spanish, is an interdisciplinary program offered by 3 faculties here at Bielefeld University. The Faculty of Linguistics and Literary Studies. Then there's the Faculty of History and Philosophy and Theology. And then there's also the Faculty of Sociology that is also involved. So I'd say, this interdisciplinary look at the entirety of the continent, right, of the Americas, from north to south, and including the Caribbean, which is often forgotten, but it's there. Okay. Is something that makes the program, I think, very worthwhile. At the same time, it gives it complexity, and it provides students with the opportunity to, research, investigate the continent in its, linguistic, literary, cultural, sociological diversity and historical diversity as well at the same time. So I guess, that would be the best way I would describe it. It's unique in that regard.
So what kind of student would be the, optimal applicant for this kind of a program?
Anybody coming from any of those disciplines. Mm-hmm. So anybody with a BA degree in history, right, or cultural studies, or languages, literary studies, sociology, that also partly looked at the Americas, would be welcome and would be qualified. Media studies as well, because we also offer, right, media studies. It's difficult to find someone who's done both, right? Let's say North and South. So somebody who's, done British studies or an American studies, and then also Latin American studies during their BA. So it's usually either or. And then obviously it's even more difficult to find, to have, applicants who already studied an interdisciplinary program. So usually it's just, it's either sociology or it's cultural studies, right? Or it's linguistics or it's literary studies, but it's rare that we have applicants who have done more than one, completed more than one discipline in that sense.
But that's not a problem. That's something that they then kind of get the tools to work with in the program.
Right. Okay. That's why we have an introductory module where we try to do exactly that. Mm-hmm. The introductory module is called Introduction to Inter-American Studies, and it's a module that's halfway theoretical, right, providing basically that theoretical basis and methodological basis for Inter-American Studies. What is Inter-American Studies and how do you Inter-American Studies? How do you do it? And then the second part is more practical and consists of a project, right? Or let's say that it's a seminar where the students then form groups and develop their own inter-American projects that then fit, so to say, the theoretical input and methodological input that they learn in the theoretical part of that module.
What are the requirements for the students to enter such a program? Is there a certain numerus clausus?
We don't have a numerus clausus. We're a small program, and it's fachwissenschaftlich, right? So there's no limit. The sky's the limit. No, I think we take about 15 to 20 students per year, and the requirements are you have to speak English and Spanish. You have to have a B2 level in both languages because, like I said, all classes are in English and Spanish. So, if you don't speak the one or the other, then chances are that you won't be able to, to keep up. You have to have a BA certificate, right, in any of the disciplines mentioned above. And then you have to obviously turn in a transcript of records, right, to see, how you've been doing during your BA studies. And then you have to upload 3 short texts in which you elaborate on your intercultural skills, inter-American research skills, and interdisciplinary skills as you have acquired them, right, during your BA.
So it's basically kind of an application letter or 3 application letters.
It's not necessarily a letter of application. I mean, it's more of an elaborate answer to what, or extension to the transcript of records, because the transcript of records always just lists the courses that you took and the grades. It does not say anything about the content, right? So we look for content there where we cannot find it in the transcript. That's why we need these short texts for.
Okay. Is there a certain interview process, or basically you just hand in the documents?
The documents, not so. The application takes place online entirely. There's the applicants upload the documents, and then we take a look at the documents. And we decide, who's in and who's not. Then they get a letter of acceptance if they're international students, and a lot of our applicants are international students. And then, they can enroll, and then that's it.
Okay.
There is usually no interview process involved.
I see. All right. Thank you. What?
No, I was like, that sounds so cool. It sounds awesome. And I was like, but you have to speak Spanish. I'm like, no. No.
Well, it's easy to learn.
I was going to say, we have an FSZ here. Students can learn Spanish essentially for free. And maybe as part of their, bachelor program. Take those credit points, put them into
I don't need credit.
electives.
If there's one thing I don't need anymore, it's credit points.
You say that now.
No, I am sure I don't need any more.
Okay, good.
At least for the BA.
All right. So is there anything that, once students are in the Inter-American Studies program, is there anything you would want them to know, to bring into the program with them? Sure, there's the application that you can weed out at least the languages and to figure out what their GPA was from their bachelor and things like this. But, how is the... I don't know. What is it that they should expect, or what is it that, as at least on the administrative or the lecturer side, that you would say, it would be nice if students did X, this, whatever, or knew this coming into the program?
Well, basic skills in literary analysis obviously are welcome because we do a lot of that. And also, methodologically speaking, how do you write a module paper? Right? How do you write a term paper? Right? Obviously, if you have a BA degree, then you've written at least one paper, which is a BA thesis, right? Depending on where you come from, but that is something that students should, that's a kind of skill that students should already bring with them.
Okay. Fair enough. And I feel like our BA students definitely get enough papers thrown at them.
Oh, well, like in our department, definitely. I don't want to talk about it. I have 3 subjects where I have to write stuff. I'm confident.
Same. Yeah. No, I have a question that I forgot. Yeah, great. No, you mentioned that you have a lot of international students. Are they from the Americas?
Most of them.
Most
yes.
of them.
Yeah.
Is there a certain difference in the way that those students approach writing in terms of the format, the styling, the language?
I mean, oh God, I would have to think about that, honestly. So the thing is, when I say international, I mean about 25 countries.
Yeah.
So we're a small program. I think we only have about 60 to 70 students in total, but you have to imagine that, 2/3 of those come from, the United States, Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, Venezuela, Cuba, right, and so on and so forth, Peru, Chile, and then obviously Germany, and then, we've had students from Spain and Italy and Russia, right, and Holland and Australia and Egypt and Iran, and so obviously there's going to be a lot of differences in the way they have learned how to write, academically speaking, right? And that's why I said it's important to already sort of, bring in a set of skills that allows for you to know how to work academically and how to also work with academic text and research, right? And what sources do you use, for example? Wikipedia is not a source. I mean, it is good for starters, but it's not, it's not considered, it's not a peer-reviewed source, right? It's not necessarily. So, of course, there will be differences, right? People learn, but the thing is, we're talking, like I said, 20 to 25 different national university systems here. So there's going to be, differences between them.
Plus, who knows how many private university systems within those countries.
Oh, yeah. Is there like a certain course that would bring everyone to the same German standard that you're expecting?
Yeah, the introductory course.
That's why we have the introductory module,
okay.
Right? And I also do that in my own courses. So not just for the courses I teach at the master's level. So not just for the students in Inter-American Studies, but also for the students in British and American Studies, because that master is also highly international. And there you also have people on different levels, right? Some come from, let's say, if they, at least in our case, right, if they studied sociology, they never studied, literature, right, at the university, right? They never wrote a paper on literature. And then I'm there, to teach them, let's say, this semester I did a course on U.S. American short stories. So sort of like 150 years worth of short stories. And then I took the time to also, and I had students in there from, both programs in Inter-American Studies and British and American Studies, but also from literature, right, Literaturwissenschaft, right, from media studies, right, from other, different exchange students, right. So what I did was to really take the time for the methodology of how do we write an essay in English, right? And how do we write a term paper at this university, in this department? Sometimes you have to do that in separate classes on top of doing that in the introductory module, because, like I said, you're dealing with a lot of variety in those classes.
Right, true.
Well, in several different disciplines, if we're in Inter-American Studies, right? So,
right.
I mean, is it the same for I don't know, people coming from a history background or a sociology background coming into Inter-American Studies, that they also get to first feel their way into literary studies and how it's done in Inter-American Studies?
Yeah, and also the other way around, right? Because imagine those with a BA degree in literary studies, and then, they have to do history, they have to do sociology, they have to write a paper in the history department or in the sociology department. They also have to learn new tricks.
What citation style do you use?
Well, different ones depending
Really?
on the discipline. Yeah.
Okay, so if
We already use different ones in British and American Studies
Exactly.
in the BA.
No, I know, but I had a feeling that Inter-American Studies is like things all put together in one pot, and that you have decided for this specific studies a certain style.
No, because that would mean basically going above, the heads of all the other lecturers from the other faculties and saying, we're just going to go for this citation style. I do MLA, right? Mm-hmm. In anybody teaching in Inter-American Studies from our department of North American Studies, we all require MLA. But then, I always say, well, if you're going to do, a course on linguistics, because we also offer profile modules in linguistics, then you're probably going to do APA.
Yeah.
And the history, I don't know, are they still with Chicago? I guess that was one of the styles. It differs. It always depends, and I always tell my students you have to ask the lecturer because they will tell you which citation style is required.
Okay.
Just listening to this stresses me out.
This is like the simplest, most formulaic part of writing.
I know,
too.
but I have 3 different subjects that all need different citation styles that all are about writing. So this is just like trauma coming out. It's like, oh no, I remember having to do this. Like, how do I cite for this style? Like every time it's a different subject. I'm like, how do I do this again? Which one were you?
But I feel
Fair
like
question, though.
using MLA or APA is the most standard thing that you could do. Like for linguistics, you do for APA, literary studies, you do MLA, and then there is German as a foreign language. They have their own citation style. Yes, they do. It's kind of a mush of Harvard and APA somehow together, which is super weird. And you don't find references on somewhere online where you have, for example, the Purdue page or something. You have to go for the page of, for example, DAF at Bielefeld University and find that exact PDF that was compiled at some point. So it's weird.
didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's super different depending on, like in literature, I asked the lecturer, like, okay, how do I write this paper? Which citation style do you use? He was like, I don't care. Just make it in a way where it's all the same.
Be consistent. I think that's...
Make it be consistent. I don't care about the rest. As long as it works, I don't give a shit. I was like, okay.
And that's why you ask every individual lecturer.
When in doubt, always ask your lecturer.
Communication's
in
good.
Anglisten, I was like, if you don't follow this MLA style to the T, I'm like, okay, I will do so. Yes.
Yeah. At the end of the day, do what you got to do. Person giving you the grade, they know which citation system they want. So I feel like we've come to the end of our questions. Any other Inter-American Studies related questions, folks?
No, but I have a question that we ask everyone who doesn't come from Bielefeld.
Go for it.
Why Bielefeld?
How much time do we have?
A lot. It's fine.
By mistake. That would be the short answer.
Really? What? How?
Okay, so you want the long one?
Yes. Because look. I think there is a city in Switzerland that is like Bielefeld. Yeah. And
Wait, so they're plagiarizing? Wait, the bags that you can buy all over town.
In theory, yes.
in theory, yes.
That that's a Bielefeld, which is basically a play upon.
Or they're just advertising for Switzerland. Maybe that's their idea.
I think it's a sponsorship, honestly.
If I had the choice, I would go to Switzerland.
Fair enough.
Okay, back to the long answer.
Yeah.
Right? So I came here on an Erasmus scholarship back in 2004. The scholarship was for French, though. I don't know how I ended up from the... Anyhow, the thing is, I had gotten the scholarship and I was supposed to go to Greece. That
Where
was my
exactly?
Thessaloniki.
Oh.
That would have been my place of choice. I've told this story so many times. Anyhow, and then they canceled the contract. So I think that it was the Greek university that said, no, we can't accept any more exchange students. So then I was still on a scholarship, but I didn't have a place to go. And it just happened. So you could say by mistake or by chance or by providence or by,
divine intervention.
Bad luck for another person. Somebody who was supposed to come to Bielefeld with also on a scholarship, but for German studies, right? She got sick. I mean, ill, right? Yeah. And she couldn't. So, dropped out. There was a spot available. The dean of studies back then called me personally and she asked, I know, what happened to you and you poor soul, you have a scholarship but no place to go. Somebody dropped out of this, program. Would you want to take her spot? It's Bielefeld. And I'm like, where the hell is that? And they said in Germany. And I was like, well, I don't speak German now, do I? My scholarship is for French. Oh, no worries. They have a French department over there as well.
Okay.
And that's how I ended up in Bielefeld.
What was it, your BA program at that point? Or what was it?
Well, I was studying English and French. I was going for a degree in translation.
Okay.
I was studying to become a translator. And then, I could obviously, continue studying English and French here. And that's basically what happened.
Like translation or interpreting also?
Translation and interpreting. That was the original, right? The original plan. But I never finished that. Because I never returned, I stayed here, so.
Bielefeld didn't let you go.
No.
And you've been here since 2004.
Yeah, it's been 20 years already.
Wow.
Oh, don't say that.
Wait, how much time did you need to learn German?
1 year.
1 year?
Yeah,
Jesus, are you a genius?
No, I like languages, so I got to a C1 level within the space of 1 year.
My goodness. Wow.
When you want something hard enough.
There you go.
You wanted that passport hard enough.
Oh, no, the passport I got, after 11 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so, or 8 years,
Did you have to give up your
No,
Romanian
I have both.
You have both?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Do you also have several?
No, I don't. But I applied for the German one after the...
The legal changes.
Yes,
the
after
new
the legal,
law.
the new law came out. Like it was something July, and I applied for the passport 2 days after. I was like, please
Good
take
for
me.
you.
I don't
still
know.
waiting.
Sorry, I'm so quiet. I don't know what to say, but since we started recording, I had 3 phone calls of numbers I don't know, and one number texts me that is a different number also that I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Somebody else forgot their
Apparently.
scarves?
I don't know who handed out my number.
No, I can't cut it out.
What the hell is this?
See, it was a North Korean scarf, and
One of these
it
numbers
escaped.
I don't know why a North Korean number called
You
me. That's
guys
The gloves
keep
just didn't make it out of North
saying
Korea.
that word out loud, online or live, often enough.
we could just bleep the word.
This
every
is
time.
what
It's just
happens.
Something.
Leon starts getting calls from weird numbers.
I don't know why your phone number's on our website, though.
Yeah,
I mean, that's probably not a good idea.
It's like,
It's okay. I allow them as a North Korean.
Well done.
yes.
Well done.
No, actually, my before the split of North and South Korea, my parents looked at where the families come from. So my mom's family comes from the North Korean region. So I'm North Korean, kind of.
She keeps digging this hole for some reason.
Stop saying North Korea.
Ooh,
So there's South Korea on the other side.
I always wanted to go there to visit because there are tours you can buy and then you can go there and see the country.
And sometimes you even can leave afterwards.
Yes. And no, if you do exactly as the guide says, then you're good to go. Just don't steal anything. Don't take pictures of things you're not supposed
Don't
to.
ask too many questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't look there.
Oh, Lord.
This was our last episode.
Yeah, with that, folks, I think we could probably say this is a good point for Anglisten Assemble to sign off as long as we're still able to assemble.
Anglisten disassemble.
Yeah, that's right. Anglisten rollout. So, Kate, always a pleasure. Leon, always a privilege. And Diana, thank you for being so generous with your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming around. And I guess we'll just say until next time, folks, Excelsior, and have a good one.
We'll give you a try. If you do well, you can go a long way. But if you fail,
the producers pledge that they will produce
you
only
can go a long way
recordings
too.
which will contribute to your musical enjoyment and successfully meet your high-quality standards.
This episode of Anglisten Assemble was privately produced as a joint non-profit informational project of students and staff at the beautiful Bielefeld University. All views and opinions expressed on the show in no way reflect the official views of the university and are solely the perspectives of our hosts and guests. Information provided is true to the best of our knowledge at the time of production, but this is naturally subject to change as some details are time-sensitive. Anglisten Assemble is produced and edited by Kate Lee, Leon Dalashel, and Brian Rosema for the private use of our quality audience. If you want to get updates and further info about Anglisten Assemble, check out our Insta at anglisten.assemble. And if you're enjoying what you hear, throw us a 5-star review on Spotify. Those help us spread the word and get more Anglisten to join the assembly. Musical accompaniment today includes the sonic stylings of music from allesgimafrei.de. And finally, we'd like to thank our special guest today, the distinctively delightful Diana Fulger.